The Fall of Lucifer. What happened in heaven before Satan was cast down? Narrator TTS script. Before the earth had kingdoms. Before humanity walked the soil. Before the stars were fully counted. There was heaven. Not the quiet heaven people often imagine, but a kingdom of unimaginable glory. A realm filled with light so pure that no darkness could survive in its presence. At the center of this glorious kingdom sat the throne of God, radiant, eternal, and surrounded by power beyond human understanding. Millions upon millions of angels filled the heavens. They were not weak creatures with tiny wings as paintings sometimes show. They were mighty beings of fire, light, and power. Some guarded the throne. Some carried divine messages across the universe. Some sang songs that echoed through eternity. Every moment in heaven was filled with worship. Every creature knew its purpose. Every angel knew its place. And there was peace. Perfect peace. But among all the angels, one stood above the rest. His name was Lucifer. The name meant bearer of light. Lucifer was not an ordinary angel. He was magnificent. Scripture describes him as being clothed in beauty. His form shined like precious stones. Rubies, emeralds, sapphires, diamonds. Every movement he made reflected divine light across heaven. He was also filled with wisdom. God had given him extraordinary authority. Lucifer was not just beautiful. He was powerful. Very powerful. Some ancient traditions say Lucifer led the music of heaven. When angels gathered to worship God, Lucifer stood at the center. His voice guided the heavenly choir. His presence inspired awe. When he lifted his voice in praise, countless angels followed. He walked near the throne of God. He moved freely among the fiery stones of heaven. He saw things that very few angels were allowed to see. Lucifer was trusted, respected, honored. He had everything an angel could ever desire. But something began to change. Slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. At first it was just a thought. A question. A whisper in the mind. Lucifer began to notice something. Whenever the angels gathered, whenever heaven filled with praise, whenever glory filled the throne room, all the worship went to God. Not to Lucifer. Not to the angels. Only to God. And Lucifer began to wonder. Why? Why should all power belong to God alone? Why should all glory belong to the throne? Was Lucifer not magnificent too? Was he not powerful? Was he not wise? The thought returned again and again. And every time it came back, it grew stronger. Pride had begun its work. Lucifer started looking at himself differently. He admired his own beauty. He admired his own authority. He admired the way other angels respected him. The admiration slowly became something darker. Something dangerous. Lucifer began to believe something that had never been believed before in heaven. He began to believe he deserved more. The prophet Isaiah later recorded the words that described Lucifer's hidden thoughts. 5 dangerous statements formed inside his heart. I will ascend into heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit on the mount of the congregation. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. These were not small thoughts. These were thoughts of rebellion. Lucifer was no longer satisfied with serving God. He wanted to rule. But rebellion in heaven could not happen openly. Not at first. Lucifer knew that many angels loved God deeply. So he began with something subtle. Conversation. Whispers. Questions. He approached other angels. He spoke carefully. Have you ever wondered why God alone rules? Have you noticed how powerful we angels are? What if heaven could be different? What if angels had greater authority? At first, many angels ignored him. Some even warned him. But others listened. Lucifer was charismatic. He was persuasive. And his beauty made his words convincing. Slowly, a movement began forming in heaven. Angels who admired Lucifer began to follow his thinking. They began to question the throne. They began to imagine a different order in heaven. Scripture later revealed a shocking truth. Nearly 1/3 of the angels eventually followed Lucifer. This was not just disagreement. This was a rebellion forming inside heaven itself. But nothing in heaven remains hidden forever. God saw everything, every whisper, every secret meeting, every rebellious thought. The throne of heaven is not blind. The throne of heaven is not weak. The rebellion had reached its moment. And heaven prepared for war. This was the first war that ever existed. Not on earth, but in heaven itself. Leading the armies of God was a mighty archangel. His name was Michael the Archangel. Michael was loyal, powerful, and completely devoted to God. When the rebellion finally erupted, the heavens shook. Lucifer and his followers rose against the throne. Light clashed with light. Power struck against power. Angels battled angels across the heavenly realms. The Book of Revelation describes this moment in history. War broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought back with his angels. The rebel angels fought fiercely. Lucifer had convinced them that victory was possible. But rebellion can never defeat the throne of God. The battle ended decisively. Lucifer lost. His rebellion failed. His followers were defeated. And judgment came. Lucifer was stripped of his glory. The beautiful angel of light became something else. Something darker. Something terrifying. The dragon. The adversary. The accuser. The being now known as Satan. And then came the fall. Lucifer and his rebel angels were cast out of heaven. They fell from the heavenly realm, down toward the earth, like lightning from the sky. The perfect kingdom of heaven was cleansed. Peace returned. But the fallen angels did not disappear. They arrived on earth. And their leader, once called Lucifer, began a new mission. If he could not overthrow heaven, he would corrupt creation. He would deceive humanity. He would wage war against God's plan. And that war continues even today. But the story does not end with Lucifer's fall. Because one day, according to prophecy, the rebellion that began in heaven will finally end forever.